Hello and welcome everyone to TradeStars Cricket Live by Cricket Cult. I'm Lakshay Malhotra and I have with me Siddharth from Cricket Cult. And today we're going to discuss about the TradeStars performers of the season for IPL 2021. But unfortunately, the season couldn't be completed, but that doesn't mean that we didn't have an amazing season. I mean, we've seen some phenomenal performances and some amazing matches in this season. What do you think, Siddharth? How was the season?
Well, I think this was definitely the best, the closest first week of the IPL that we've had in its 14-year history. I mean, the contrast between Chennai and Mumbai was just brilliant. Like the contest between bat and ball, where ball was more dominant in Chennai, where targets like 140 couldn't be chased, they were defended. And in Mumbai, where Rajasthan nearly in the first week chased 220 when Sanju Samson hit that beautiful century. So I just felt like this was, like the first week was the icing on the cake, but the whole tournament as a whole, I think it was quite good. And like it's as you said, it's a shame we couldn't finish it. But hey, here's hoping that somewhere down the line we can finish the tournament.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get the remainder of the season soon enough. And today we'll be discussing the performers for this season for four teams, which is the Delhi Capital, the Royal Challengers from Bangalore, the Chennai Super Kings, and the Punjab Kings. But before we get down to the first team, I think first we'll discuss about TradeStars. So Siddharth, maybe you can tell us more on that.
So it's a very unique concept, Lakshay, and it is a one of its kind fantasy platform where you can buy, sell, and trade the stocks of your favorite players. So basically, it hits right at the sweet spot of the Indian audience, where we have an investment temperament in this country, and obviously our love for cricket is well known. And this beautifully, amalgamates both those things. And so like you can think of TradeStars as a stock market, where each player is a stock, and you can looking at their current value and guessing what their future value is. You can invest your money and you stand to win. You stand to win lots of money. It is also very future oriented, because it uses Ethereum powered blockchain technology. So I feel as a whole this product is a winner and here to stay in the Indian market.
Yeah, I think this product is definitely something to watch out for all our cricketing fans out there and those cricketing brains who like to think about this. And I think definitely they'll enjoy this one. Coming down to our first team, which is the Delhi Capitals. So who do you think were the TradeStar performers of the season for the Delhi Capitals?
So I think Delhi as a whole had a brilliant tournament. They were in trouble with Shreyas Iyer being ruled out of the tournament, their captain, their talisman, just a month before the tournament. From there to finish wherever the IPL finished at the top of the table was brilliant, and it was mostly down to three players, one warhorse and two newbies. So Shikhar Dhawan was definitely a very, very valuable asset for the Delhi Capitals team, and he was Rishabh Pant's go-to man. He proved his worth. He like how important he is to the team. He was dropped from the Indian team just in the England series preceding the IPL, and from there to becoming such a valuable performer for his team. I thought it was a brilliant tournament for him, and he's in line for India selection in the World T20. Then I thought Aveish Khan was brilliant. Here's this guy, he's an unknown commodity, no one's heard of him, and 5 weeks later he's a backup player for the Indian Test team. So that shows you how his stock value improved multifold. Just like I just hope that I knew of this before the IPL. I would have definitely picked him in my team as a stock. The other is I think Lalit Yadav. Now he was, I don't think he would have been a part of the playing 11 had Shreyas Iyer been fit, but with him being not fit and Ajinkya Rahane not in the best of form, he got an opportunity, and what an investment it was by Ricky Ponting and company. I mean, he prove his value, whether be it with the ball, be it with the bat. I thought he was another TradeStar performer for Delhi Capitals, Lakshay.
Yeah, I think all of these three players have performed beautifully, and they are mostly the reason why Delhi Capitals have so far finished on the top of the table. But who do you think out of these three has been that one standout player who's been the TradeStar performer of the season for Delhi Capitals?
So I feel it's a tough one between Aveish Khan and Shikhar Dhawan, but purely because Shikhar's graph was going down. He's already lost his place in the Test team, in the T20 team. He was benched. Kohli said he would open. KL Rahul being the third opener. Shikhar Dhawan was nowhere in the scheme of things. But to have the tournament that he did, and now look at the talk in the market. He is probably everyone's first choice to open in the Indian World T20 11. So I feel Shikhar Dhawan was the trade star of the season for Delhi Capitals.
Yeah, definitely. Not only has he increased his strike rate, but he's also increased his value in the team and his value in the market. So I think definitely Shikhar Dhawan would be the trade star performer of the season for Delhi. But then let's move on to the second team, which is the Royal Challengers from Bangalore. They've had a pretty good season. They've had their moments. And who do you think were the three players or the trade star performers of the season for the Royal Challengers?
So, I'll start with Mohammad Siraj. He had proved his worth. He is an asset with the red ball, but there were still some doubts whether he's a liability. When it comes to white ball, his economy rate was quite high before this season. But be it bowling with the new ball or bowling at the death, he showed his value. I mean, he was probably Virat Kohli's number one bowler. Bowled in difficult situations and always came out trumps. And the way he was swinging that new ball, wow! I mean, what an asset he can be for Indian cricket going forward. And the other one I thought was Hershel Patel. Now again, what a cost-effective and brilliant investment by RCB, trading him from the Delhi Capitals, where he was given a run, but his role wasn't quite clearly defined. Here comes Mike Hesson. He's like, you are going to be my most valuable death bowler, right? You are going to be my you bowl in those difficult situations with his bag of tricks. And barring that one over against Ravindra Jadeja, I felt that Hershel Patel had a fabulous IPL, and he was the Purple Cap winner. So that clearly tells you about his worth. The third one was Devdutt Padikkal. I think the transformational change in Padikkal's, so to speak, stock price took place in IPL 2020, but there were question marks about his strike rate. His strike rate was hovering around that 120 mark, and with the likes of Virat Kohli opening with him and Maxwell, De Villiers, Dan Christian to follow, he couldn't afford to take that much time. And I thought that he proved to if he were an asset, his value increased even more. Like, it was quite high, but it increased further because his strike rate, I think, was now in the 140s. And what a performance that was in that century that he scored. So I feel like, he is someone like, future trade star users can pick, because he will give you valuable future gains. That is personally what I feel. So who, according to you, Lakshay, who was one trade star performer for RCB in this season?
I mean, RCB has had a lot of players who performed really well this season, whether it's Devdutt Padikkal or Siraj. But I think that the person that's really changed the fortunes for RCB in terms of their investment, I think that's Hershel Patel. I think we heard Virat Kohli's interview where he said that we're going to back Hershel Patel. I think that's important when you need to back your investments and then necessarily watch their value increase and how they give you returns. I think Hershel Patel is that player that's necessarily done that for RCB, because he's taken the responsibility of bowling the death overs, and the Chennai wicket helped him, and he picked up a fifer, picked up really important wickets. So I think Hershel Patel would definitely be my trade star performer of the season for 2021. Okay, let's move on to the next team. I think the next team is the Chennai Super Kings. So I think the Chennai Super Kings also have had a good season till now so far. But what do you think have been the three players that have really been that important to them, their trade star performers of their season?
So I think Chennai Super Kings having a good season is an understatement, Lakshay. They had a brilliant turnaround. I mean, here was this team which was written off, like these are like dad's army, this and that, and no one was giving them a chance, and they were probably the most consistent team in the tournament. So I felt like their three trade star performers were Faf du Plessis for sure. I mean, he is an exception to the rule. Him and Shikhar Dhawan, where like when you think of future investments, you think of up and coming young talent which is to be identified. But here's someone who's given up to longer formats of the game, and the Protea definitely showed his worth and value to that CSK team. And the other one was again Ravindra Jadeja. Uh, he has been India's most valuable player ever since the 2019 World Cup. He brings immense upliftment to the team, to whatever team he is a part of. He can he's worth his weight in gold in the field, with the ball, with the bat. And that RCP game was a perfect Ravindra Jadeja story, what he can do on a cricket field. So he's definitely one. As far as Rituraj Gaikwad is concerned, along with Faf, I think he showed glimpses of his talent and the value that he could bring at the top of the order in the last 3 games of IPL 2020. But again, the Fleming Dhoni combination, they backed him. He failed in the first 2-3 games. There were fingers raised as to if Robin Uthappa should replace him. But again, that virtue of the Dhoni Fleming combined to show trust and faith in a cricketer, which is actually what TradeStars is about, isn't it? The platform where it's not like other fantasy platforms where on the day whoever performs gives you the laurels and gives you the victory. Here you can identify a talent like Dhoni and Fleming did. He didn't come off in the first 2-3 games. That's okay. And then he had a spurt of great performances. And look, at the end of it, he increased his value. And if you had picked him before the tournament, he would have made you some money, Lakshay.
Yeah,
so those are my 3.
Yeah, that's so true. I think all of them have been really important assets for the Chennai Super Kings. But again, there has to be one standout TradeStar performer of the season for the Chennai Super Kings. And who do you think that would be?
This is a tough one. I'll go with Faf du Plessis because I know how incredible Ravindra Jadeja was and what an asset he is, but I just felt that purely at the top of the order, those valuable runs that Faf scored and the consistency and the strike rate at which he scored them, his strike rate was close to 150. So I feel like I'll have to go with the old warhorse again, Faf du Plessis.
I think he's been a phenomenal player for the Chennai Super Kings, and MS Dhoni has always backed him, and he's shown that he can be someone who stands up and puts his hand up whenever the team needs him. So I think, he's a brilliant investment for the Chennai Super Kings, and definitely he's been the one. Then coming down to a 4th team, which is the Punjab Kings, and Punjab Kings have had ups and downs, a lot of ups and downs in the past 4 seasons, but I think they've had some good matches this season. Who do you think would be the TradeStar performer of the season for the Punjab Kings?
So I think with the lineup that Punjab had, I think they could have performed much better. I mean, they are a top 4 team with that batting lineup. I just felt that, but like, be that as it may, Arshdeep Singh again proved his value at the death. He was incredible at the death. He seems like he has no fear of failure, even when bowling in difficult circumstances, be it in the death or bowling the 6th over, which traditionally is the toughest over in a T20. He was always the man for the job. So Arshdeep Singh is definitely one TradeStar performer, and the qualities that he possesses, you should look out for the bid that he'll get in the next grand IPL auction. I feel like he'll be worth his weight in gold. The other one was again everyone's favorite emotional story, Harpreet Brar, the man from Moga, who epitomizes what the IPL is all about. Coming from a small town in Punjab, he belongs to the same town as Harmanpreet Kaur, the Indian women's captain. So she put Moga on the cricketing map. But Harpreet Brar comes. 2 years ago, there's an interesting story. 2 years ago, he was going to shift to Canada and give up cricket. And but then fate had something else decided, and And look what an investment he turned out to be. He came, he had a dream run, he was getting superstars like ABD, Maxwell, and Virat Kohli, probably his hero. And his stock price must have tripled, I feel like, share. No one knew of him, and here he comes, turns the game on its head. And don't forget his batting. Don't forget the value that he brings with his batting. So all-rounders are hard to come by, as we all know. But Harpreet Brar was brilliant. Then I thought another guy who increased his value in terms of the IPL market was Deepak Hooda. He got limited opportunities, but I thought whatever opportunities he got, he batted really well. He chipped in with a few valuable overs, and and they were very cost-effective overs, very economical overs. Then he also was coming with no cricketing experience behind him. Remember, he had that fight with Kunal Pandya, and his Baroda captain, and he left the squad midway. So without any match experience, this guy comes, and with a little bit of support from Puran and Enriquez or Fabian Allen, I thought he could have placed Punjab at a better position on the table. And one more mention of Shahrukh Khan. Shahrukh Khan, again, he has a fancy name. He also has some fancy strokes. Punjab invested in him quite heavily, in the auctions. And he did leave a mark in the limited opportunities that he got. Even when Punjab scored 100, he probably took them to 100, or they would have, gave them a face saver. So his graph is only going to rise, and he's again one person you should definitely buy the stock of in the TradeStar Fantasy platform, Lakshay.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show how the values fluctuate in the market. One day you are nobody, and the other day you're one of the most valuable players for someone. So I think investing in the underdogs is also something that people need to look at. And so, like, all of these four players have done an amazing job. Yeah.
Investing with the long term, this thing. There are many fantasy platforms where you'll just invest, like you'll just see who is playing who. You pick 11 out of the 22 players, and basically 7-8 players, everyone would be the same. But this is like, once someone can have half a season of IPL and not perform, and then turn it around. Like, you remember Shane Watson when he hit that beautiful century in the final. He was having a torrid tournament, but he turned it around. So someone with foresight would definitely enjoy this platform, and that is what makes it unique. Lakshay.
Definitely agree. And I think that all of these four players have performed really well. But I think the TradeStar performer of the season for Punjab has to be their underdog, their person who picked up the 3 wickets of ABD and Maxwell and Kohli. Don't you think it should be Harpreet Brar, or do you think it should be Shahrukh Khan?
No, definitely. So Harpreet Brar didn't play the initial few matches, so you can only judge him in the matches that he played. And in the 2-3 matches that he did play, he left an immediate impact. So he proved to be a valuable performer for Punjab, and which resulted in victories. I mean, the others did perform, but they didn't quite translate into victories. But here was one man who changed the game on its head single-handedly. So definitely the TradeStar performer for Punjab for the IPL 2021 is Harpreet Brar.
Yeah, definitely. And these were the TradeStar performers of the season for these 4 teams. That's it, folks. That's all we have for this episode. And tune in to our next episode, and please follow and like Cricket to get more knowledge and keep in track with these episodes where we discuss. In the next episode, we'll discuss the 4 remaining teams, which is the Sunrisers Hyderabad, the Rajasthan Royals, the KKR, and the Mumbai Indians. And we'll look at their TradeStars performers of the season, and we'll see how they went about their season. But for now, that's it from us, from me, Lakshay, and from Siddharth. And catch the next episode of Cricket Cult. Follow, comment, and like. Do you agree with our picks? If you think that there were some TradeStar performers of the season in your head, they were different from ours, do drop them down in the comments below and let us know about it. And follow, like, and subscribe. Also, do check the TradeStars link for the platform that's given in the description below. And we'll see you in the next episode. This is all from me, Lakshay, And Siddharth, take care. Goodbye. See you.
Bye, folks.